what are the most elitist television shows? Like, the way I'm kind of thinking of it is, what are the TV shows that people like to tell other people that they watch, and also like to tell people that these shows are so good? So it's like the opposite of the guilty pleasure.
There's a big number one for me.
I've got one too. The thing that
sucks about this conversation is that these shows that we're going to talk about are all great. They're all going to be good.
They're all a reason great.
Why? But the fan, we've talked about this. The fan that the show generates, can be the most miserable scumbags you encounter in your lives.
Absolutely.
You know who the number one is. You know who the number one is. And
let's say it at the same time.
Okay.
1, 3. That's a better way to do it. Countdown. All right. 3, 2, 1. The Wire.
There it is. We got it. It's the best. It's the second best show ever. But the fans will make you question if you even should have gone to high school. Literally, like that's the level that it makes you think of.
How far did you make it into The Wire?
I've seen The Wire all the way through like 4 times.
Okay.
Buddy.
Well, you have more room to talk then, because I only made it halfway through season 2, and I was like, I'm kind of over The Wire, man. I'm kind of losing interest in people sitting around in a room listening to a wiretap, and then the DA or the chief of police coming in be like, hey, we got to shut down The Wire, and McNulty coming back in, Wire's back up. I'm like, this is the same episode every time. I gotta listen. Yeah. Stringer Bell is gonna, he's planning some like coke deal, and somebody's one of his minions, one of his baddies is gonna get killed. I'm like, I've seen the show. I don't care anymore. I have no interest.
Listen, I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but that's stupid.
Fair. I know.
But here's the thing, dude. I genuinely enjoyed it. It was very good. But it became so apparent early on that you can't talk about that show without coming off as a pretentious asshole. Because there's two types of people. There's people who've never seen it, and there's people who've seen the whole thing. And either I would say the majority of people who've seen the whole thing fucks with it, right? I mean, Of course, there are going to be outliers. There are going to be people watch it and be like, that was stupid, it's overrated, whatever. But what I'm saying is you got to be deliberate. The best example of this I could give is when I was in film school at the University of Cincinnati. I was taking which, by the way, film school's stupid inherently, all right? Studying works of art as if, like, there's some kind of hierarchy of education to it is stupid. It's entertainment, like, you're supposed to absorb it based on your own experiences, right? But like,
I think there's something to be said to being able to critically analyze art.
For sure. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with critically analyzing it, but I am saying having some dude in a tweed jacket who's 50 hanging out at Panera Bread telling you how to watch Raging Bull, stupid. All right?
Fair.
My point is this. I was in film school and I was taking some class, and the professor said one time during a class that he's like, "Oh, I teach a graduate class on The Wire too." Which first over, that already gives me almost an embolism. Just even thinking that that's a thing, that there's a graduate level class on an HBO show. It kind of hurts my soul. Things got even worse when I went up to him after, and I was like, "Oh, can I take this class? Because I'm just trying to get college credit, and I had already seen the damn thing like 3 times, so I was like, I'll fucking ace this thing." And he says, "Oh no, that's really graduate level students only. We don't let undergrads in here."
Yeah.
And I just stood there and I was like, okay. Like, this dude who has nothing to do with the show made me like it like a little bit less. And then you know why it's number one, the number one elitist show, is because people who watch The Wire think it's a replacement for voting. Like they think that that's like their social service is just by watching it, just by having the info of like, oh, I've seen what it's like on the streets, even though I'm a 46-year-old dude.
It's street cred from the couch.
It's white people claiming street cred from the couch. That's what it is. That's why it's pretentious. But it's also like the second best show ever,
Interesting. Yeah, because it is It is. That's what it is, because it has. The Wire has no commercial value whatsoever, right? It's a very popular show that has no ability to sell anything.
Its only ability to sell is now as basic. It's a hidden gem. It's people phrasing it like, "Oh, you're either hip to it or you ain't." You know what I mean? People like to feel like they're a part of something that's not like super popular. That's probably why their fans are so pretentious, because it was never popular. Who's
the musical artist though? That I want to know this. So who is the musical artist that has made their way into the mainstream, who has no commercial appeal whatsoever, but somehow has a name because of, for the same reason The Wire does, because it's so, what's the word? It's so authentic and it's such a retrospect. Yes, because it has none of that. It's all substance and it has no flash. Like, what music do you think for some reason is like a cultural like household name, but for whatever reason most people don't actually listen to it?
That's tough, because that's such a specific question. I don't know if I can think of that on the spot. I mean, like, I don't know. You go first. Like, hit me. You ask the question.
I've got nothing. I was racking my brain
because that's a specific ass question.
Yeah, but
you're talking about people who have died. Like, you're talking about an artist who like nobody cared about until they died.
Okay,
and then now in retrospect, people
back now.
Yes. Okay.
Back now. Like,
all right. Now
Arcade,
this out.
Yeah. Arcade Fire, kind of. Like, not that many people actually listen to Arcade Fire, right?
I can give you a big one. MGMT.
Whoa! Now I've got rebuttals to that.
I knew that.
I've got rebuttals to that. I don't think that necessarily counts, because that you're in a different space, my guy.
I know I'm in a different space.
I think Beck counts because they win a grant. I think Arcade Fire, they win Album of the Year. But if you really look at their streams, who's actually listening to that album? Who's actually listening to that Beck album that won Album of the Year? This is Kanye's point, not mine. It wasn't that many people, man. So at some point, you got to put the artistic criticism down and say, what is poppin'?
Yeah, I mean, but they're two separate conversations, aren't they? Like, listen, I don't think the fucking Grammys are important, but the people who run the Grammys would say, hey, we're trying to tell you what we think is a curated selection. We analyzed all the music and we think this has the most merit. It's not, if you just wanted to rank who sold the most or who got the most streams, you can do that, but that's not what it's about.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's funny though, because it's like they're like who has the most streams, who's at the top of the Billboard is a meritocracy. But at the end of the day, like, you can do that, but then when you're trying to say, oh, we're gonna have this objective scale and objectivity of an award to give to someone based on art, it fundamentally doesn't work. It's like you can't say,
I mean, listen,
the best. We know what good music is, and turns out that album that none of y'all listened to and you thought it was boring, that was the best album. So you all aren't good at listening to music,
It's definitely goofy. Yeah, dude, it's goofy. Like, and the flip side of that too, though, is that, like, if you ever do you know anyone who's like, oh yeah, I gotta watch the Grammys this year? Fucking nobody cares. People got real shit. They have 105-degree fever and they been coughing for 7 weeks. Like, nobody gives a fuck to see, what Bruno Mars is gonna win this year. Fuck that, dude. But what I'm saying is,
Bruno Mars rips, dude. Bruno Mars deserves every Grammy.
He was an example. You're right. He's a hit maker, dude. He's a hit maker. What's another elitist TV show? I was gonna say The Sopranos. I think it's too popular. People love to talk about the ending, and if that was, if there's like an elitist cult to that. Which, by the way, listen, if you've seen The Sopranos or not, people know about like the controversial ending, right? Of it like cutting to straight
mid-sentence or something.
Like it's hard to. That's why you can't even like judge TV, because like people are upset about that. Like, what do you want? What do people want? People want to go see Tony Soprano get killed in front of his family. Like, can you imagine making a show for like 10 years with like the highest production value in show, a multi-million dollar show on HBO? They spent like a decade perfecting, and then in the last scene, it's like some guy shooting him like, bada bing, bitch. And then it just Like it just leans in so far to the mafia thing. They're just like, I whacked that son of a bitch. Ends. And then people are like, what the fuck? I don't know. Maybe the legacy's different.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It is, you got it. But the thing is, they nailed it because people will always talk about it. And that's the thing.
Same with Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad really did have a climactic ending, though.
Not to the same degree, no. But either way, people. But
Okay, do you want me to? Yeah. Do you want me to say mine?
Yeah.
Okay. This show, I feel like it was somehow it became in the zeitgeist of being like a very like sophisticated and cerebral TV show, which it was not. It was complete BS, and it was actually like pretty bad. I think was Westworld. I think Westworld had this like idea of that it was some sort of like brain exercise to watch it, but I think it had a good premise, but that TV show I think it was bad. I think it was bad television, and I think they wrote each episode almost like they were building the plane as they were trying to fly it, and I think it was hot trash. I think it was hot trash. It was hot, sophisticated trash, man. Westworld sucked. It was bad TV. It was poor writing. It was bad acting, and everyone tries to justify it and say no, but they were robots. They were like trained to act. I'm like, no, everyone sucked in that movie. Everyone was a terrible actor.
Here's how I'm gonna defend Westworld slightly. Here's how I'm gonna do it. Season 1 and 2 were pretty good. They were pretty good. I was into it. I get what you're saying. You're absolutely right. It is definitely the new elitist show. It is the new, if you're not watching this show, you shouldn't even be allowed to vote.
Yeah.
Like that thing, like people are like, oh, you can't get it because there's like 17 storylines. You're right on that front. The first 2 seasons were good. They were written well. There was some good acting. Anthony Hopkins was great. But real talk, dude, this last season, I don't know if I've ever done this before, but I quit. I quit 3 episodes in. I was like, this is stupid. I was really into it for the first 2 seasons. And then this season, like the newest one, it was 3 in, and they brought in like Aaron Paul to just be a dipshit, like acting like he's Matthew McConaughey in a Lincoln commercial the entire time. They just basically paid him $50 million to brood in the corner in replacement for like writing a good character, and they just were like, "Oh, you were good on Breaking Bad. We need some star power in this bitch." It didn't work. It got so wonky now that I was like, "I'm done," and I didn't even care. I haven't even cared. I have no interest in looking back because it jumped the shark. But I think you're right in spirit. Although I think there's merit to season 1 and 2. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I want Westworld. The only way Westworld can redeem itself now is if they go back to the cowboy era and like Barack Obama becomes a character on it, and then
I'll watch an episode.
Yeah, see, then I'll pop back in. If you can get Barack Obama to be a live action character, he's a host in Westworld. Listen, you got a hit.